meantime, just to let you know that we'll be talking about the the very heated uh, panel or the very heated election happening this weekend with the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. So we're going to be hearing from the three nominees for party leader, and we're going to be talking about the process, getting an understanding of what is going to take place. And I'm sure you may have your questions and your comments. But you know, here on Alarm Clock, we really try to bring the awareness about, you know, what's happening and why is this happening, so that we could encourage our listeners, particularly our young listeners, to understand the electoral process, how governments work, how governance works, so that they could see themselves having a contribution to make in all of this as well. So we're just going to take a little break, and hopefully our guests will show up by then. I know some of them will be calling in, but we should have members of the Electoral Commission from the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party joining us soon. And so we will be back shortly. Desi is here, bright-eyed and bush-tailed, co-hosting with me as well. So we will be back talking about the party leader election happening with the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party this morning, and we will
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
While we wait, we will just start the conversation. And if you have any questions for any of the nominees when they call in, let us know. We'll ask the questions on your behalf. Hopefully, we'll have enough time where we could even have you, just talk while they're here, but we're not sure how that will work. But in the meantime, Desi, how are you feeling about this election coming up? Um, this feels like general elections all over again.
Yeah, I think, well, I've been hearing through not, I don't want to say through the grapevine, because directly there's been a lot of concern about how public the election is going. And I have quite a perspective on that, in terms of the reason why some may or may not, it might not have been a consideration, but I'm quite I'm also quite amused that the election has been very public, and I think there's a way to play on that where a lot of us have friends on the other side, and when we have conversations about leadership and politics in our private spaces, there is a possibility of some sort of influence. So my friends on the other sides may have heard one of the representatives going up and feeling like, I like to hear this one, they might be able to and kind of influence somebody on the inside, and to make a decision. They may be indecisive because there may be some, it doesn't matter who leads the party, once we have leadership, right? But I'm also interested in seeing how it pans out, because these three men are very different. They have different leadership styles. They're from very, very different fields in terms of like their areas of interest. So quite
Professional
naturally,
exploits
yes,
too, yeah.
right. So quite naturally, it's going to seem, it is, there's an anticipation for me and many others to see where the Labour Party is going to go should they choose one of these men, because there's no, if we choose one, we're likely to go into this direction anyway. They all have different, might have similar ideas, but very different styles, like I mentioned, and having those different influences in their lives, although a part of the same space, which is that one common interest being in the Labour Party. It's going to be something to see. I know for the past couple of years, I've been on radio for a while and being bombarded with questions like, should you think that the Labour Party should change leadership? So this is a big deal.
Yeah.
This is a major deal to see where the Labour Party is going to go, and to see if it's going to change the minds of some people. We've heard Dr. Terence Drew asking for persons to come home, and we'll see how that plays out. What is going to be the impact that the leadership chosen, who is chosen, is going to have on the Labour Party overall. I can't even say what the impact is going to be. Like, I can't sit down and say, because you've never really seen, well, besides Mr. Hanley, in a position of leadership where you can see a lot of people interacting with him. Dr. Drew is a favorite. People likes his charisma and his empathy and stuff like that, and he comes off as an approachable individual in that regard. Conrys Maynard, we know, is very popular, very, very popular, but we're yet to see what the possibilities are with him in leadership in that area as well. So it's almost like a blank slate. We're starting from a place where we're not sure, but we would really like to know what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I think the three of them together is a stellar team, and I think it's a really good thing to say when you think that you have to pick one of these three, and you're not really losing if you would, no matter which one you choose. I think the party is going to be in good stead, and I'm hoping that everybody stays on the team. I'm hoping that the fractures that have been caused by this very public election process can be healed, and the people can mobilize and come back together for the good of the party. But we are now joined by Dr. Sharon Esdale. Dr. Esdale, good morning.
Good morning, Miss Williams. Good morning, Miss Brown.
Good
And
morning.
and
I'm happy to be here.
yes, we're so happy you're here because one of the things that we try to do at Alarm Clock is really talk about politics without a lot of the, tribalism and really just break it down to the very simple facts and processes so that people could get an understanding of what is happening and then they could see themselves making contributions as well. So you are the chairperson for the
I am the deputy chair.
deputy chairperson. Yes, Ms. Rattan is
Yes,
the
she
chairperson. Yes. So you are the deputy chairperson for the Electoral Commission on the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Could you tell us what the Electoral Commission is?
The Electoral Commission was formed based on the Constitution. We were given the task of planning, executing, and overseeing the election process, which will be held tomorrow, Sunday, the 28th of October, 2021.
November.
No, sorry, 28th of November, 2021 at the Marriott.
Okay. So it's going to be like, who is eligible to vote tomorrow?
Well, all delegates will comprise of persons who are financial members, and these were elected by the branch.
Okay.
So each branch will have a total of 50 members.
Okay. So each
each
constituency has 50
Right.
delegates, and so they choose who the 50 is.
Yes.
Okay. And then I understand that you have other groupings
Yes,
who
we have
send delegates as well.
The executive.
Mm-hmm.
We have Labour Women,
Mm-hmm.
the Youth Arm, Young Labour,
Mm-hmm.
and a representative from the Trades and Labour Union, which is an arm of the Labour Party.
Okay. So can you have somebody who's, let's say somebody in constituency 1 or 2, whichever one, and they're also a delegate for the Labour, Young Labour. Can somebody be a delegate in both cases or?
No, it will not be wise. So we advise the candidates that they should allow the executive to choose persons for one role.
Okay. So no
So
one
the double,
person
right.
double
No.
voting. Okay. So tomorrow, what is being voted on?
Tomorrow is the day when all eyes will be on the Labour Party.
I think it's been that. Yes.
Both locally, regionally, and internationally, if I may say. And we will have the voting process, which mirrors our general election process. And there will be the same agents. There will be the candidates will choose their agents. There will
Wow.
also be observers. We have observers,
Oh,
two
wow.
observers. We have presiding officers and poll clerk, and we have one returning officer. It will be secret ballot. It's the first time it's done that way, I understand.
Okay.
So it's sort of excitement in the air among the delegates and the branches.
Wow. Go ahead.
How many people are you expecting to participate in this?
400 plus.
Okay, and these are all members of the Labour Party.
Yes.
All right,
yeah.
and the campaigning that was done, I know we mentioned earlier that a lot of it has happened in the airwaves, externally. Were there opportunities on the inside for campaigning, or is that something that they do just like in general election? We'll have to canvass to get the support of the persons that they would want to elect them into the position.
It was left to the candidates. We didn't dictate how they should canvass.
Okay.
So they can canvass within their constituency or outside of their constituency.
Okay.
But I guess they would have to canvass outside as well because you can't just stick with your 50
Right.
and your 50 might actually not vote for you.
Right.
So it might be wise to canvass in
On a
all
broad
aids and
right.
then also to the different groupings as
Like
well.
the Labour Women and the young.
Yes,
Labour.
yes. I'm
And I
interested.
think they have been doing that.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how that process has been. So we will definitely ask the nominees for party leader when we speak to them. But so this is exactly like general elections, secret ballot. You go in and you have to place your X too. And
The only exception you will have is the ink, because we will be voting more than one cycle. So
Okay.
we'll have the first for the leaders and the vice chair, and then we'll have for the other positions
Oh,
at different rounds.
So how does that work? You're going to vote for the leader and then announce the winner? Or,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then go to the different cycles?
Yes, then we break and then we have another cycle.
Okay.
So we won't have the ink, but we'll have the ID. Each delegate will have to have
Oh, so
ID
each delegate is voting in every cycle?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what are the other cycles? What other positions are?
There is a position of, I think there is secretary, and there's a position of floor members, and there's the position of vice chair.
Okay. And the deputy leader is voted as well? or-
Automatically,
Yeah.
automatically, whichever two may not be successful, they will automatically be elected for deputy leader. Or three, actually, we have 3 persons running for the race it will be 3 at the time.
Who are those 3 persons?
Well, either of the 2 who
Are unsuccessful.
Either of the 3, I could put it to 2, either the 3 who are unsuccessful, as well as a young lady, Attorney Masha Henderson.
Oh, that's how that works. Okay.
You mentioned floor members. This is becoming a very educational experience for me. You mentioned floor members.
But it's a term they do, but they are part of they become part of the executive, the board executive, and their role is to make sure that they're in tune with what's happening on the ground, so they can report.
So they're like liaisons, essentially.
Most, right.
Okay.
And
so
maybe
they
a little
go
more
to-
than that, right.
Okay, cool.
They have a very serious role to play.
All right, so they're the ears on the ground. That's a very, very interesting floor members. Very, very interesting concept. Is this unique to the Labour Party? Do you know?
I'm not so sure, because I don't remember if they ever had before, but perhaps.
And
I
people-
cannot positively say.
So is it that persons go up for this position? They indicate their interest.
Yeah, there are a
or they're
number of
nominated?
nominees, yes.
Okay.
But it's only, I think, only 3 positions.
Available.
And many persons are interested in that because they have a wide range of nominees,
Okay.
but only 3 positions.
So do they have to canvass as well?
course,
Oh,
all
wow. Well, it's interesting that we've only really heard about, well, at least I've only heard about the party leader.
Right, because that's the one that is
Yeah,
generating.
and I think I saw a picture with Masha Henderson as well, but I haven't heard about anybody else. But I guess once you're doing your work, and it's an internal election, even though it feels very public, it certainly has its merit. I think this is it's a good exercise in transparency.
Yes, and it's the first time.
Yeah. Because it also helps, Desi was talking about the public element, how everything is playing out in public.
Right.
And I think it really gives the public an opportunity to see the
process at work.
Yeah,
And
to
so I
see
think
the
you find-
process and you don't feel like somebody was handpicked.
Right. It's not behind closed doors, and that is why there's so much publicity in educating the public of what is happening. Right here, I'm going to be discussing or sharing with the public the steps that will be used in the process for tomorrow.
Yes, that would be great.
Okay, thank you.
So as I told you, that the commission was to plan, execute. The planning is done. We execute the plan, and now tomorrow we're going to oversee the plan.
Okay.
And we have had a number of training sessions for branch executives, and as well as the other groups. We also have, today we'll be having a training session for the presiding officers and poll clerks. Now, first of all, we contact our branch. Each executive talk to the branch members. This was done by phone of the process, and they were asked to bring, each delegate is asked to walk with an ID. So it's not just come to vote. If your name is there, you have to have an ID to show that you are really John Brown.
Wow.
If John Brown is the list, on your list. And then on the ballot paper, they will be required to make an X in the square, just like we do in the general election.
Don't touch the lines.
Right. They were told that. And then they'll take that ballot paper to the presiding officer, who will tear off the section and watch them put it in the box. And then we may have more than one person voting because it's a lengthy process. And since this is the first time, some people, may be a little, disoriented in a sense because they may not understand, because especially if you have to go 3 different times. When you go to vote in a general election, you go once, and then you have 3 different cycles. So it is important also that they understand the process, and we have been, training, and we have been putting out announcements via social media, and branch executive are expected to bring the information to their delegates, and encourage them to vote. We are encouraging, from the commission point of view, that tomorrow, even though some delegates may have their names down, they might decide they're not going. But we're encouraging the executive and the candidate to ensure that all 50 names that they put on the list, that their delegates, barring any serious illness or anything, turn out to vote. Because we don't want it to look like unbalanced. We want to.
Right.
Right.
So do you have a window to vote tomorrow? Because you said 10:30, but what if somebody shows up at 1 and they didn't get to vote?
I think it's a all-day conference, and we expect that if you come to the conference, you come from beginning to end, and you stay.
Okay.
It's just that they're not going to have the public session. This is like the private session.
Can I ask who your observers are? Not necessarily the names, but where are these observers coming from?
They're local, and they're
people attached to the party, or?
Well, I would say they have their support, but they're not attached.
Okay.
They're not attached.
Okay. I was just curious about that. Is this something that it's a private session, so
it is, right.
Okay.
It is
So we just have to wait.
right.
Wait till
But you know how
till
I'm just going to say, with media, modern technology, as soon as the last count is finished, the formal announcement will be shadowed by the informal announcement.
Well, as part of the the Electoral Commission, I would have loved to hear that you all were trying with electronic voting or something of that nature.
That was considered, but when we met with some of the candidates, they had misgivings because of the wide range of persons, delegates, who may not be familiar with the electronic. So we say for now, but the next time, perhaps, since it was the first time we're doing it that way, we decided to go.
It's always going to be a first time. I think then the responsibility is on training and making sure.
And I don't think enough time in.
Okay, fair enough. So you all will be counting by hand, like
and
regular and the agents
for each candidate.
Who is this for? Who is that for?
Right.
Okay.
Same process.
I hope you're not there till midnight.
I don't think so.
No, well, not so. Well, not
I know
that
not
limited
late,
number,
right.
but I really believe that that's something we need to get out of, so that we can have results as quickly as possible.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
With emotion so high, especially, and
delay could cause it even to go higher.
Yeah, and nobody knows how this will go, because now it's secret ballot. So you may think a delegate is going in there to vote for a particular person, but then they turn around and do something differently. So,
That's true.
well,
Just
it's
like the general elections.
that is so true. Well,
Yes.
you have yeah. So, we Dr. Esdale, thank you so much for coming and explaining the process. We will all be looking out tomorrow evening to hear what the results are, and commendations to the party for having this process being so transparent. I think it's a learning opportunity for all of us,
Yes, it
and
is.
for persons who may be interested in joining the party or learning more about the candidates. I think the public has been given a great opportunity to do that. So I wish you all the best tomorrow
Thank
and all the
you.
energy and
This is history in the making, and I'm proud of the opportunity to be part of the history.
yes.
And I am looking forward that everything will run smoothly and, you know, everybody will be satisfied. Well, not satisfied.
I don't know if everybody will be
But will
satisfied.
will come together as one no matter
Yes.
the outcome.
Let's hope the emotions calm down enough
Right.
that everybody can come to terms with whatever the results are tomorrow. Okay, so thank you so
and I
much.
would like to congratulate you on your launching of the book.
Oh, thank you.
And I wish you well in all your endeavors. I know this is just the beginning. I know you have greater things yet on the horizon.
Yes, ma'am.
May God
Yes.
be with you as you continue to progress in your
Yes,
life.
ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Miss
so
Brown, I know you're into
appreciate it.
carnival. I listened and I wish you all well. And know that with your talent and skills, that great things are going to happen.
Thank you so much for
And
your
I'm
well
happy to be
wishes.
with you all for this.
Yes,
Thank you.
we
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
We
Thanks for
appreciate you.
Have a
coming.
great
you.
weekend. Yes,
Okay.
you're welcome.
Bye-bye.
All right, folks, we're going to take a short break and we should then be joined by our first nominee, and we're going to talk to him and find out how he's feeling, what he's expecting, and plans going forward. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Not 5, not 10, but up to $20,000 off a new Toyota Hiace. Choose your Toyota Hiace model, choose your financial institution, and save up to $20,000. Roll out reliable, fresh, and in style with free licensing, registration, and tinting. It's a bus bonanza with up to $20,000 off. TDC Automotive, #1 for a reason.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Supposed to be calling him.
And we're back on Alarm Clock, and we're discussing choosing the next SKNLP, which is the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party leader. And it's been an exciting couple of weeks looking at the campaigning happening with Dr. Terence Drew, Mr. Connors Meenad, and the Honorable Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. And we're expecting to speak with Dr. Drew shortly. But we're asking if you do have any questions that you would like to pose to any of these gentlemen, we would like you to give us a call. And wait, the number.
466-0989 and 662-0989. I got you.
Yes, thank you. So give us a call. Let us know if there's anything you want to hear from the gentlemen as they call in this morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning, Dr. Drew here.
Oh,
Oh, hi.
lovely.
Lovely to have you. Thanks for calling in. I love how flexible everyone is. You're calling in even though you couldn't be here in person. So we appreciate that.
Yes,
How are you
yes.
feeling, Dr. Drew, going into tomorrow?
Well, good morning to you, of course, the host, and good morning to those who are listening. Um, I would say that I'm feeling good about tomorrow. I have done a significant amount of work. As you know, I work very hard, and I apply the same sort of vigor and energy to this process. So I feel good.
Okay. No, Dr. Esdale was just here, the deputy chairperson for the Electoral Commission, and she explained the process. And one of the things that we were talking about was how public this whole campaign has been, although it's an internal party issue, but it has really played out for the whole public to see. What are your thoughts on that element of the process, the fact that it has been so public? Do you see any benefits, any cons? How do you feel about the publicity of it?
Right. So I think in politics, as transparent as any party can be, it is always good for the process and good for democracy. That's a given. Of course, there are some negatives to that in terms of what would have been written, people trying to be malicious, and especially when I know that the opposite party is really trying to intervene and, they're spreading a lot of propaganda and stuff like that. And that would have had a negative impact on the race. I myself, I have been a victim of a lot of that maliciousness. But nonetheless, this is also a learning process. But, transparency in democracy, I think, is always good. However, they must always be managed to make it as positive as possible. But to let the people know that the Think It's Nevis Labour Party is a democratic party, a party that had a democratic process before the Think It's and Nevis as a country, as an entity, had a democratic process. Remember, it's just in 1952 that we had adult suffrage. Our party would have been established since 1932, and we'll be now in 90th year come January 2022. And therefore, we understand the democratic process for many, many, many years, and we know how important it is to have such a process and how important it is to be transparent and open. However, there have been some drawbacks with the interference and the negativity that would have been going around.
Have you felt compelled to respond to that? Because from my vantage point, a lot of it has been geared towards you. Have you
Right.
felt compelled to respond, or how do you deal with that sort of what you term as the external attacks?
Right. So I put all of it in perspective. I had to respond to a few of them, because there's some things in politics that you respond to and you respond only once. Otherwise, these fake news can, take root in some people's minds, and if there's not a rebuttal, then there's nothing for them to consider as an alternative view of things. So I have responded to a few of them. I try not to respond to everything that is out there. Otherwise, you'll be out there responding to a lot of
That's true.
nonsense, as I term it. However, there are some things that I would have had to respond to, and I have responded. I mean, there were a lot of attacks on my character. I think if you were to check social media, I received most of the attacks. But I understand why I am receiving such attacks. I am leading in the poll, not just in the Labour Party, but nationally. And I think that, those on the other side see that as a serious threat, that you cannot have somebody who is viewed favorably by the general public, by the voting public, by the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis to become the leader of the leading party in St. Kitts and Nevis. I mean, that combination would put our party in a very, very good position. and therefore they have launched a serious attack on me. But that attack did not just start. It started even before the elections, when I brought forward the test kit, and all sorts of things were said about making money and corruption. None of it is true. And since the elections, you have heard nothing of it. It was just all propaganda and really people being malicious to malign me and to defame me to some extent. But history has absolved me, and history would absolve me once again. So it's a political calculation by them to drag me down, to at least affect my favorability among our people, and they do that by maligning the character. But I put things in perspective. This is nothing that I don't expect, and so I would have put a number of things in place to make sure that I can respond to it and respond appropriately when I have to respond. And so a few of them I respond directly, but I continue to allow my image, what I stand for, my character, as a politician and someone who serves people, to really do the speaking and the talking on my behalf. And I think the Kittians, our people, the divisions, would have seen me over near a decade now, and they have seen that I am not corrupt, I am not involved in no hanky-panky, misappropriating anybody's money, anything like that, never brought to the court for anything like that. So I think that is a fact, those are facts, and my character stands and it stands. I am not a perfect person by the widest stretch of anybody's imagination. Nobody is perfect, but I am not, and the Kitchens and the divisions or people understand that Dr. Dre is not a corrupt man, and he's not involved in these sort of things that they're trying to link me with. And I bring people's memory to just before the election. So I put things in perspective. I respond when I have to, but I think that they are losing that battle in trying to attack me and malign me with, deception and misleading information and so forth.
Okay. Now, Desi and I had a conversation earlier about, in regards to the publicity of the election, but more so the benefit that it does for outsiders and undecided voters to, see the party and see if it's a viable option for them when it comes to elections. And you just mentioned that you are leading in the polls nationally. Now, what do you think it is about you, or what do you see as your strengths towards encouraging other people to consider the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party as a viable option?
I think what I bring is not myself at all. I work with people. I love to work with people. So nothing I do is because I do it alone. And without the people, I cannot stand. And so I always have that front and center when I approach anything. So my ability to work with people, to involve people, to give people their space to be themselves, their own leaders in their own right, I think that attracts a lot of people to my campaign, to my message, and so forth. But outside of that, in addition to that, I would have laid out a clear vision to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. They understand clearly, if you elect Dr. Drew, this is what you will get. You will get a politician who is firm, who would stand for what he believes in. I'm very calm. I'm very respectful also, but I do stand on principles that I believe in. So they would understand that that's the type of leader they would get. They also will get a leader who has worked with our people here in St. Kitts and Nevis and have a clear vision. And the vision is, if you elect Dr. Drew, you know that these are the type of things you'll get. You'll be transparent. You'll be open. He would be inclusive and not exclusive. He would strive to give every member of society an opportunity to pursue their own dreams and to pursue their own happiness. They understand they would have a health system that will be an excellent health system. They understand that when it comes to anything like housing, finance, infrastructure, opportunities for young people to participate in the orange economy, entertainment, and so forth, people getting opportunities to go overseas to study and advance themselves, or even study here in St. Kitts and Nevis, the strengthening of the agricultural sector, the strengthening of the educational sector, and so forth. They know that when I speak of these things, that I'm very serious about it. I think that the Kittitian and the Vision, they trust my word when I say these are the things that I stand for and these are the things that I will fight for. And I think as a result of that, I'm favorable in the polls at this moment. They
Okay.
also speak about good governance, and I'm serious about the issues of good governance to end corruption as much as possible, to fight against it as much as possible, to fight against nepotism as much as possible, and to give people opportunities based on merit. They understand that these are the things that I will fight to implement. So there will be a new day. Dr. You given the opportunity to lead St. Kitts and Nevis. And as I said over and over again, I cannot do it alone. It is because there are so many competent and good people who are working with me, and I want to recognize their efforts. So many names I can call, but time will not permit. So I want to say to them who have helped and continue to help and will help, that I do appreciate their efforts. So I think it is because I'm level-headed, I have a clear vision, I have shown competence and the ability to work with people, respect people, and I'm serious about making this a people-centered campaign, hence people-centered governance, and people are looking for that at this time in our history.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Terence Drew. What I wanted to ask is, you've spoken about, well, I'm actually very fond of the fact that you spoke about your leadership style, but what is the vision? Where do you want to take the Labour Party?
Right. Whose voice is there?
This is Desi Brown.
Oh. Thank you very much. Right. So where I want to take the Labour Party. Now, the Labour Party is the oldest party in the English-speaking Caribbean, and I think it's in the top 5 in the whole of the Caribbean. And this party has a strong tradition of democracy, openness, transparency, and our motto speaks to who we are, for the good that we can do. So everything that we do, we imbue that with our motto, with the good that we can do. However, just like anything else, you upgrade things, you advance things, and it's no difference in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. When I'm gone and others come, they would also advance things, and that would be my great hope. So the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, I want us to have a home, a permanent home, here in St. Kitts and Nevis. That home will be our center. It is not just to be a building where the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party is, but it will become an institute, an opportunity center where people can come and advance themselves in various fields, in various endeavors, and so forth. And so it becomes an institute that can help to prepare our people for leadership, not only political leadership, but leadership in general, to help to create a more advanced citizenry. And outside of that, in addition to that, rather, is to have constituency offices that are up and running. But these offices should not just be open during an election time, but they should be part and parcel of the everyday running of the constituency, so that people, they can offer services to our people, and our people can also come in and work within the office and add to the office, and so you have sort of symbiotic relationship between the community and the office. And the office, again, a satellite of the main office, operates almost like an institute. The other thing is to make sure that we have the decision making within the party coming from the ground up and not from top down. It has to be a bottom up type of approach, because what you want is that you have your offices functioning. And let's say you have a government, our government in the Labour Party is in government, and there's a policy to be discussed, let's say the education policy. You would want that conversation to start at the grassroots level, at the community level rather, so that people can say, look, these are the ideas that I have, and these are the ideas that are coming forward, so that together we can formulate the best policy for St. Kitts and Nevis. And when that is done, people will have buy-in. And so you want there to be decision-making from the bottom up, and not just have people come around when it's election time, but to tell them and give them the opportunity also that you can participate in the everyday political history, political flow in St. Kitts and Nevis, not just around election time. And I think that bottom-up approach would help to streamline it so that the constituencies can receive the necessary finance they need to run the operations, to do electioneering, to advance the community by investing in the people in the community and have the people in the community. And that needs some level of finance. I mean, we don't have unlimited resources, but what we have can be streamlined, properly organized, so that it can reach as many people as possible in a positive way. And so when we look at those things, I think it will give. And when it comes to elections and the selection of our candidates, we have a process presently. It's a good process. That process can be strengthened so it can give the opportunity to any member of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party to become a candidate. You don't have to be this person or that person. What we need to look at is what do you bring? Your strengths. Are you would be a good and viable candidate? Are you trainable? Are you open to new ideas and so forth? What do you bring to the table? In other words, let people be judged within the party on their merit and not necessarily anything else. As Martin Luther King says it, a man should be judged on his character. What does he bring? And so we want to have that process even streamlined. When it comes to women, we need more women at the table. And this is something that I've been saying. The party must create the environment where more women can come at the table. Let me give you one quick story as I wrap up the answer to this question. For example, the Honorable Marcella Liebert, when all of us are in a meeting and we are discussing as candidates, and we have one female who would have been there, and that was the Honorable Marcella Liebert. And when she speaks, and her perspective is a refreshing perspective, a man just cannot have that perspective, no matter how much he tries. And that perspective should never be excluded from any leadership, structure. Why? Because it adds to it, it enriches it, it broadens the scope, and it helps to make it successful. And just having that experience with her has told me, and is telling me, let me put it that way, that we really, really need to make sure that women get equal opportunity at leadership within the party. When it comes to youth, the youth need to be at the table. So we have to create the necessary policies to make sure that these things are carried out. And so I want to say that those are things I'll be looking at. Women in politics, those processes, policies, and so forth must be strengthened to ensure that more women come forward. To make sure that the youth have a genuine place at the table. And as one youth said to me in a group, that she feels like sometimes the youth is, they're used as a handbag. Oh, I have youths with me. When the youth cannot even a genuine seat at the table. And so we don't want our youths to be handbags. We want them to be at the table. Because as I said, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. So I would push to make sure that women and youth get a serious place at the table so that their voices, their perspective can be heard, because it enriches us, it strengthens us, and it makes us viable going deep into the 21st century.
Wow.
Well,
Thank you so much.
thank you. I am
Yes.
exceptionally excited about the fact that you specifically mentioned women.
Without being prompted.
Without being prompted, because I actually was going to ask you that question. Considering now also you have Marsha, I think is Henderson,
Yes.
coming in, and of course in the position that the spaces that I work with in assisting, working in programs that help, would I rather say that are gender focused and trying to train young women to become not just leaders in politics, but leaders in their spaces and leaders with grit and so forth. And I'm definitely looking forward to see that being an issue that is prioritized. Like you rightfully said, there is no man on this planet that can have the perspective of that of a woman. And having
Facts.
women at the table could definitely increase the possibilities of inclusivity and widen the perspectives and the reach of the party in terms of the kinds of projects that you guys do and how you structure the projects and how you get things done. It's really, really important to have more women and not just sitting down and having discussions, but I want to see more women as candidates. Let's get them in the house, not
Yes.
just from the Labour Party side, but I'm just looking for that all over, right? We need to see a lot more inclusivity, because women they don't just bring that of themselves, but that of children and their uncles and their aunts and the disadvantaged, or are we calling them vulnerable groups and so forth. They bring a lot with them, and not just the perspective of women. So it's really important to have that inclusion. But thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the best. If there is any quick thing in under a minute you want to say before
Yes, right.
we close this segment.
Yes, so I want to say to our delegates that you would have the opportunity tomorrow to choose the new leader for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, and I want to humbly ask you for your vote tomorrow, and give me that opportunity to work with you so that we can advance the good cause of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party as we work to establish more deeper in St. Kitts the good that we can do. And I also want to say that with our current leader, I've put forward his legacy so that people can know that as a Labour leader, he would have contributed significantly not only to Labour, but to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that I respect, irrespective of everything, his contribution should be recognized as other leaders would have their contribution recognized. I show gratefulness is important. And I wrap up by finally saying again, I ask the good delegates of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party to vote for Dr. Terence tomorrow at our party's leadership conference.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Drew, and we wish you all the best, and we look forward to hearing the results.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So
All right,
thanks so much for joining us, and all the
Thank
best.
you all very, very much. I do appreciate it.
Okay,
All right,
great.
take care now. Bye.
All right, bye. Okay, so that was nominee number 1. We're going in alphabetical order. We will be breaking for lunch at 12, but we will have the other nominees calling in. So you can make sure you rejoin us at 12:30, and then again at 1 to hear the other 2 nominees. But that was, I feel like saying contestant number 1.
Oh God.
No, but what do you think, Desi? I too like that he we'll always ask about young people, and we'll always ask about youth.
Yes.
But
Women.
he said it straight up. It's part of his vision, and I think that's really commendable.
I do too. I also liked the mention of the financing part, streamlining financing, because I tend to realize that is an issue. We focus a lot on trying to get things done at almost $0, but forgetting and realizing that although you have people, there's a lot of things that require money. And being able to have access to that resource is very, very important in getting some things done. If at the beginning, at the start of anything, we can talk about money, because it seems to be a conversation people don't like to have. Let's how much is all of this gonna cost? We have really good ideas, but how much is it gonna cost? What other things can we do that could not compromise on the quality, but keep the quality up, but keep the cost low as possible, without draining the human resources that you have. Because you also gonna have persons who are going to willingly tap into their own funds and their own, resources to be able to get things done. But there's a limit on that. There's a limit on how much people will do to give back and give as much as they can without compromising themselves and those around them that they have to support. So it's very, very good that that's something that was spoken about. I like the idea of empowering others. I'm that kind of leader as well, that likes to, it has its drawbacks, but that really likes to give people space and time to think, to do things that they would like to do, and just somewhat be in a more mentorship position, where you give them guidance, provide them with the resources that's required for them to get some things done. But, it's a very good tool in building character and giving people some sort of responsibility and control. Sounds good. He sounds good. I'm looking forward to hearing the others. They're a very good candidate, so I'm excited about this.
I think it's this is a race where, boy, I think whatever happens at the finish line, it's
gonna be good anyway.
But you just want to make sure that they're all going to be there, because I still think that this is a really strong team.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, we just hope that they're all going to be there. But it's 11:57, and we have to break in the next 3 minutes. So it's good. We'll be following the feed on Facebook. Let us know what your thoughts are. What do you think? What did you think about Dr. Drew? I thought what stood out to me as well was the idea of the party having a permanent home. Mm-hmm. And not just to say you have a headquarters or something, but he's talking about, training other leaders, because that's one of the criticisms that the Labour Party has always had. It doesn't seem like there's a succession plan.
I think all the parties have been criticized for that, actually.
Well, particularly because you had Right Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas leading the party for 32 years.
That's true.
So you want to make sure that you always have this crop of leaders who could take the helm at any given time. So I think to go as far as to establishing a physical space where this sort of training will be happening, I think is a good
commendable.
Yeah, it's a good signal of where his mind is. But it sounds good. So folks, we're gonna break now, and for the midday news, this is Inside the News with Alarm Clock, your co-host Gian Williams and Desi Brown, and we will see you back at 12:30 with Dr. Jeffrey Hanley. Yes, Dr. Jeffrey Hanley will be next. He'll be joining us at 12:30. So see you then.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International. By land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
With the WIN headline news, I am Kevon Brown. Making the headlines, domestic violence cases in St. Kitts and Nevis on the rise. Links to COVID-19 pandemic as possible cause. Grenada Minister, help is on the way in the face of economic hardships in the country. Internationally, France is delaying making the COVID-19 vaccine compulsory for health workers in its Caribbean overseas territories. People have been protesting for several days in the French territories of Guadeloupe and Martinique, angered by the proposed measure. South Africa's government says the travel ban because of a new mutation of the COVID-19 virus detected in the country, now dubbed Omicron, is unjustified. Now, the details. Junior Minister of Gender Affairs in the Nevis Island Administration, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams, addresses the occasion of the International Day of the Elimination of Violence Against Women, observed on November 25, 2021, which has now been observed for 30 years this year, marking the start of 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Brandy Williams said we must, as a community, take action now in solidarity with this year's theme, Orange the World, and Violence Against Women Now.
For those who are fortunate enough not to be personally affected by the verbal onslaught and vicious blows of gender-based violence, we cannot sit idly by. No longer can we say it is his business but not mine. No longer can we use our phones to record incidences of violence rather than for reaching the police. No longer can we laugh rather than lend a helping hand, for violence will not end on its own. We must stamp out from the heart of our society.
The junior minister reported that domestic violence cases rose substantially from 2019, which saw 87 reported cases, to 357 in 2020 during the pandemic, and a further increase in the first 3 quarters of 2021, with 443 domestic violence cases recorded. Brandy Williams believes the COVID-19 pandemic, specifically its lockdowns and further movement restrictions, is the cause for the increase in domestic violence locally. Beyond the 16 days of activism, what can be done to help combat instances of gender-based violence?
There are 3 ways that we can all support ending violence against women and girls. 1, let's support women's economic empowerment. It's a critical prevention measure. Let's provide equitable, decent work opportunities, look towards providing gender-responsive social protection measures to reduce and redistribute the unpaid care burden, share the care within your homes, and facilitate women's participation in high-growth industries. 2, let's always ensure that women's needs are also front and center, understanding the different ways in which climate change and disaster risk resilience affect women and men, so that we understand the ways in which women face heightened vulnerability to climate change and increased risks of gender-based violence post many disasters. Finally, We need to ensure that public spaces and urban renewal strategies are gender responsive, creating sustainable and safe environments for all persons.
Tony Broadber, the representative of the United Nations Women Multi-Country Office for the Caribbean. Broadber made those remarks in a special presentation during the federal launch of the 16 Days of Activism at the Villa Grounds in Charlestown on Friday, November 26th. In regional news, Grenada Minister, help is on the way in the face of economic hardships in the country. Primetime Caribbean has that report.
The Grenada government has announced measures that will see a reduction in electricity bills there. The announcement in Friday's budget coming at a time when nationals have been complaining about increasing costs. Presenting the budget Friday, Finance Minister Gregory Bowen said the government will move to put a cap on the price of gas at the pump to ensure it does not go above $15 per gallon, $2 less than the current price. The news will be seen as a welcome relief for many in Grenada who have been clamoring for the government to do something about soaring prices. The Keith Mitchell administration says it will remove a number of taxes and levies on electricity.
As part of the 2022 fiscal relief measures, the government will also zero-rate the VAT on electricity consumption for domestic consumers with usage up to 500 kilowatt hours per month. Government will also remove the environmental levy for all category of consumers whose usage does not exceed 500 kilowatt hours. In other words, Mr. Speaker, domestic customers consuming up to a maximum of 500 kilowatt hours per month will be relieved of government charges on their electricity bills.
Bowen announced even further measures that will ensure that consumers get lower bills.
Additionally, Mr. Speaker, with the rise in the price of fuel expected to continue, a reduction of 25% on the non-fuel charge per kilowatt hour will be instituted for all categories of consumers. These changes will take effect from the next billing cycle.
The Grenadian Finance Minister said relief for motor vehicle owners is underway.
The slump in supply and consumption at the height of the pandemic triggered increased costs for fuel, and in recent months, motorists have paid more at the pump. The government will implement a cap of $15 per gallon on gasoline and diesel, effective from the next petroleum price change on December 18th, 2021.
The Grenada government also announced that it will pay frontline workers who were central in the country's fight against COVID-19 an extra month's pay in December in appreciation.
Mr. Speaker, I therefore announce that all frontline public sector workers, defined as all officers of the Royal Grenada Police Force, along with medical personnel and ancillary workers in the Ministry of Health, who physically performed and they continue to perform, and by virtue of their duties were exposed to the risk of COVID-19, will receive an additional month's pay during the month of December.
Former Minister of Finance and current St. Patrick's West MP Anthony Boson hailed the budget package in an interview late Friday with WPG10.
To me, it's Christmas in November, and I hope every Grenadian enjoy the package. And for those who might say this is an election budget, they might be mistaken. They will be disappointed. It is not an election budget. It's a budget that reflects the realities of the day, the need to help people who need help, because people have been suffering high gas prices, high food prices, no income, and any government that considers itself to be a people's government must focus on those areas.
But new leader of the opposition party, the National Democratic Congress, Deacon Mitchell, was more lukewarm about the budget.
As I said, these are token issues. The reference to the fact that the removal of VAT and the environmental levy could not have happened without the government being in control of the company's flat-out faults. Environmental levy is a tax, VAT is a tax, and the only entity that in fact can impose or remove taxes are the government. So that is something that the government has the power to do. We are happy, I think, that because Grenadians have been clamoring about the high cost of electricity, and now that the government has in fact responded to that clamor. So as the leader of the National Democratic Congress, we are happy that the government is finally starting to pay attention to some of the issues that affect the people of the country.
Immediate responses to Friday's announced measures were varied.
It's a feel-good budget, a feel-good moment. And so our people have to look at it and think about it. What is it that they're going to give us? Is it that they really care so much as they say?
So anything extra coming in for the public officer, for the teacher, in December is going to come as a bonus, and it will be welcome.
You hear the complaint about the high cost of living, fuel charge, electricity charge, and the budget addressed it. So I think it was a budget that was prepared with people in mind and providing relief to the people. So I'm very, very, very hopeful. I'm very pleased to see that budget that will touch the lives of the people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique.
We now bring you these international reports.
Emily Guibert is saving what she can in what used to be her home in the city of Pointe-à-Pitre in Guadeloupe. She still can't believe that a lifetime of memories could be destroyed in minutes in a fire that was started by looters during protests earlier this week. She was lucky to escape. Now she's trying to pick up the pieces.
There are no photos left, not even a picture of my mother.
Demonstrations have shaken the French Caribbean island for more than a week. Emily says she understands people's frustrations, but not what has happened in her neighborhood.
This isn't how the economic situation in Guadeloupe is going to improve. Yes, there are problems, but it's not looting, vandalizing and burning that are the solution.
Next door, a wedding shop run by this man's family for generations is ruined.
I lost everything. What can I do? What can I do? Only my eyes to cry.
The situation in Guadeloupe is tense. A strike that began more than a week ago over mandatory COVID vaccines for health workers has widened into a demonstration against the French government and become entrenched as protesters continue to block the island's major roads.
There is a massive tailback of cars on this road, and I've been speaking to some of the people in the cars, and what they say is they've been waiting for more than an hour, and what they're waiting for is for that blockade up there to be cleared, and once it is, the police will let them all through.
We thought we could pass, but we have no information. We don't know if it'll open or not, but we don't want to turn back now.
It's a bit complicated, but we have to live with it and be patient.
Near the island's main airport, these boat owners have started a new business, selling rides as a way of bypassing the blockades. This man just arrived from the mainland. He was worried about the situation.
At the moment, we can't get home easily because it's a bit of a war zone between the locals and the police. We can't get past some blockades, so we're forced to find a plan B like these taxi boats.
The French government is talking with authorities in Guadeloupe to find solutions to the crisis. Meanwhile, people on the island are managing as best they can as they try to keep things running. But with no end to the situation on the horizon, some people's patience may begin to wear thin. Natasha Butler, Al Jazeera, Pointe-à-Pitre, Guadeloupe.
Frustration at Johannesburg's international airport as dozens of people try to return to the United Kingdom. It comes hours after it was announced a new variant of COVID-19 had been identified in South Africa. That led to the United Kingdom announcing a new travel ban on people coming from southern African countries, including South Africa, Botswana and Zimbabwe.
It's a big inconvenience. We had our flights booked for a week's time, but we got the news from our daughter in the UK about 12:30, 1 o'clock last night, saying that the UK were going to introduce a red list.
It's unfair, it's unjustified, it's abrupt, and it's not good for tourism for South Africa. Ever since these regulations were passed last night, people are frantically trying to get back into the UK.
South African scientists say they're worried existing vaccines may not be effective and the new variant may spread easily.
The genomic surveillance in South Africa has been outstanding throughout this whole pandemic period, and that's why we've been able to identify when changes occur. The fact that we are able to identify changes quickly is good news. It's good news for the world. But we must be careful that we don't then jump to the conclusion of, well, that equals it came from here, it came from there, and it means it's this or that. We need to understand much more about this.
So far, dozens of infections have been identified in South Africa, while in Botswana, the government says the new virus was found in several foreign nationals on a diplomatic visit. While the South African government says it respects the decision taken by the UK and other countries to limit travel to and from the region, and that precautionary measures may be necessary, it says the decision is rushed.
The action of some of countries in terms of imposing travel bans and such measures are completely against the norms and standards as guided by the World Health Organization.
A possible fourth wave compounded by the new variant may further strain an already overwhelmed health system in South Africa. Famida Miller, Al Jazeera, Johannesburg.
BioNTech said Friday it's expecting more data in the coming weeks on a worrying new COVID-19 variant first detected in South Africa that will help determine whether the company needs to rework its vaccine. The Omicron variant has raised global alarm. Countries around the world have tightened border controls because of it, and scientists are scrambling to see if vaccines currently in use against the coronavirus still work. Pfizer and BioNTech said that if necessary, they expect to be able to ship a new vaccine targeting the variant in approximately 100 days. Moderna said in a statement it's working to advance a booster candidate tailored to the new variant, testing a higher dose of its existing booster and studying other booster candidates. Meanwhile, Johnson & Johnson said it is also closely monitoring emerging variants and testing the effectiveness of its shot against them.
You were listening to the WINNFM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were domestic violence cases in St. Kitts and Nevis on the rise. Links to COVID-19 pandemic as possible cause. Grenada Minister, help is on the way in the face of economic hardships in the country. Internationally, France is delaying making the COVID-19 vaccine compulsory for health workers in its Caribbean overseas territories. People have been protesting for several days in the French territories of Guadeloupe and Martinique, angered by the proposed measure. South Africa's government says the travel ban because of a new mutation of the COVID-19 virus detected in the country, now dubbed Omicron, is unjustified. Thank you for listening.
That was the WINNFM Headline News. The Headline News was brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, KDP Enterprises, The Grange, and Carib Brewery.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive active on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
We are faced with tough decisions every day, but choosing the right home or motor insurance shouldn't be one. You need fast claim settlement from a company that's been rooted for over 31 years. And don't forget the A Excellent rating by AM Best. Make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Reliable insurance that you can count on. Get a quote today for your home, motor, contents, and liability insurance needs, and make the intelligent choice. Caribbean Alliance. Tomorrow secured. Local agents, Dalil Walwyn & Co. Limited. Telephone 465-2631 or 469-5303 for the Nevis office.
Found the South 98.9 FM.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness, it's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoyed the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly. WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
People make the world go
with 20% off in-store this Friday the 26th and Saturday the 27th November at the TDC Home and Building Depots.
Terms and conditions apply. See stores for details.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People make the world go
All right. Good good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're on. Okay, yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I think Jamstead's ready to go home. No, but we're here in studio. You're listening to Inside the News with alarm clock. We're here on the last Saturday of every month. And actually, dun, 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 Desi, do you realize this is our last show for the year?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. We had an amazing time here at WINNFM.
Yeah, it's been good. Trying to get the focus of our show is really to get people talking about politics and governance and things like national development without it being, associated with a lot of the confusion and
what's the popular word? Tribalistic.
Yes,
and
yes.
Politically polarized.
Yeah,
And
we need some level heads. So we
Yes.
talk about these things with level heads and try to break it down, try to educate people as well on what's happening. So a lot of people don't know some of the things that other people might think are so basic, and everybody knows that. So we talk about things about politics and governance and really try to get people to understand what's happening so that they could make their own contributions. So we've had a good year, I think. Some really good topics. We went from entertainment and blue economy, and we spoke with young representatives, young political representatives. We talked to women involved in politics. We've had a good run this year. We've definitely had a good run this year, and your feedback has also been extremely encouraging. Nice. I know some people like the fact that young women are talking about politics and governance, and we try to make sure that our panels are primarily young, if as much as we can control that, because young people are thinking about politics and governance. We think about it. It's just that the tribalism really turns them off. So we try to have the discussions in, like I said, calm, level-headed ways. So we have been today talking about the leadership race, the party leadership race for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And earlier in the show, we were joined by Dr. Sharon Esdale, who explained the process. This thing sounds very, very serious. It's not a process of handpicking. We will all be waiting with bated breath tomorrow to find out who is the new party leader. Dr. Douglas the Right Honorable Dr. Douglas will be stepping down as party leader. I like that word, transitioning into I think he spoke on their press conference earlier this week about a legacy council. So he's going to be transitioning into that. I'm sure we will still hear him and see him. He expressed that he will still be the parliamentary representative for constituency number 6, but when it's time for the next election, hopefully we'll hear more news about that. But so far we've had a conversation with Dr. Terence Drew, who is one of the 3 nominees for a party leader going up for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And at 12:30, which is now, we will be joined by Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, who is the second of the 3rd nominee for party leaders. So we're going to talk to my apologies, Dr. Hanley, and we're going to hear from him and how he feels about everything going forward, and we're looking forward to that conversation. So, Desi, what do you think? What do you think we're going to hear from Dr. Hanley?
Well, what do I think? That's a very, very interesting question. I know Dr. Hanley is a man that is very youth-focused. He is impact-driven, so I know he is going to be probably looking at the bigger picture of things. Really looking forward to his perspective on involvement of youth a lot more, and possibly actually women as well. Also looking forward to him putting in place structures, because I've noticed in a lot of his work that he likes to make sure he has a good solid team in place and people around him that's going to also get things done. So I am definitely looking forward to hearing more about that.
Yeah, I think I think they will definitely hear more about the being inclusive and getting everybody involved. I think Dr. Hanley is somebody who loves to gather. He loves to gather people and make sure that everybody feels a part of it. So we look. Okay, we have a call. Let's see if it's him. Good afternoon.
A very pleasant good afternoon, Honorable Jeffrey Hanley.
Oh, great. Lovely. So, thank you for joining us. We have already spoken with Dr. Terence Drew. So, you're the second on our panel. We thank you for joining. Even though you're not here in studio, I know you wanted to be. I know all of the nominees wanted to be, but circumstances prevented that. But how are you feeling, Dr. Hanley? How are you feeling about tomorrow?
I am feeling very confident because, Gianna, and before I go into that, let me commend you on an awesome job you did on Tuesday night at the launch of your book.
Thank you.
I believe it was an excellent evening, and even up to yesterday, I was speaking with a friend of mine who indicated that she will reach out to you because the message was a real touching one, and she can associate herself with that. She reminded me how she just broke down in tears. So congratulations on the book, and I am confident that it will be a healer for women, mothers who go through similar challenges. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
Yes, tomorrow is an exciting day. It's a historic day for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, and I love to associate myself with historic things, so I am excited about what will take place tomorrow, and I've placed everything in the hands of the Lord, and His will be done. And I will be happy, and I believe the country will be happy. The comrades will be happy. So there's nothing to fear.
All right. Now, Dr. Hanley, we have had a very specific interest here at Alarm Clock when it comes to talking about, the different political parties. And one of those things has always been about parties or a candidate's ability to gather people from outside of the party. So we can't just preach to our own parties. We have to make sure that our message resonates with people outside of the party. So what do you see as your strengths that would really help to move the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party towards being seen as a viable option for undecided voters or even people who are not currently Labour supporters?
Thank you very much, Ms. Williams. Very good question indeed. And I will answer that by saying I am the right choice because I am a man of the people. And this is not only because I entered the political arena and I was successful, but it's because of the many things that I have been doing all of my life, Jihan. I have a heart for people, and I am one who get along with everyone across the political divide, and this is not just happening again because I am actively involved in politics. This has happened all of my life as I have been involved in community groups. A matter of fact, I even got an award from Sir Kennedy Simmons under his leadership, a Scout Award, and I traveled to Australia. So I view myself as an honest man with the right heart to bring people together. I sometimes describe myself as a unifying bond, and this is not, again, because of politics. Over my years of working in youth development and otherwise, and you would have benefited tremendously, I always bring people together. My strength in counseling and having that ear to listen to people, I think, is one of the driving force why I know that I will be able to do a good job in bringing new faces to the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Because you're right, I mean, the normal base just can't win. You need others. And I think because persons view me as a people's person, and they have seen me at work, whether it is in my public life, my community life, now my political life, they see that I am genuine. And I think that is what people are after right now, because there comes a time when you must separate the politics from country development. And right now, the country in itself is divided. We have been in campaign mode from since probably, I would say, 2012. And we must come to the point where this divide must end. And I see myself as the one who will be able to unify not only the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and our comrades, but by extension the Federation. And this has a lot to do with my faith in God and my strong belief that He can do everything and anything that we ask, He can grant us. And I hold on to that, knowing that once people view you as honest, they will be willing to give you that chance. And I'm looking forward to that opportunity, not only tomorrow to lead the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, but in the near future to lead St. Kitts and Nevis as one of our prime ministers.
All right. So you're hoping to have that that's your aspiration. You're going for prime minister.
Well, you know the word, so you must speak it into being. So after you were sent to the leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, the big picture is to ensure that our parties return to government. And after that is successful, I believe that the Lord will add the extra in ensuring that I become a prime minister in the near future.
All right. What do you see as what's your vision for the party? What does the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party look like under a Dr. Jeffrey Hanley leadership?
One, Jihanna, I would say that will be filled with energy and innovation, because one of my greatest strengths is organizing. I'm an organizer. And this is a golden opportunity for me to reorganize the party so that we can win the next general election. And in reorganizing the party, there will be the divisions in terms of making sure that your branches are organized, ensuring that the necessary resources are in place for your branches, for the various constituencies in terms of their activities. And of course, part of the vision, although you can't speak of everything, is to ensure that during my legacy, we will have a multi-purpose home for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. And I use multi-purpose because it must be just beyond a place. It must be a place with a purpose. One that you can do training of your citizens, one that you can turn into business as well, because there must be a business approach to the new branding of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. It cannot be the same old, and the same old people. Not that you're discarding people, but there must come a time when new energies, new blood must be introduced so that you can get new ideas, new innovations. So I see myself being positioned to ensure that these things happen. Of course, Gian, as a transformational educator, part of my leadership would be to ensuring that education in the Federation be transformed. More more school-friendly schools. I mean, you saw what I did at the Brantywedge Primary School, and I believe the entire Federation and the region, those who are listening, would have an idea. But when you could have had a situation where maybe the government of the day, they thought that it was punishment for me to send me into a school, to head a school after being the director of youth for some 18 plus years, I use it as an opportunity given by God to make another legacy, because I would have left a legacy in youth development. I left a legacy when I managed the PEP program. And when I got the opportunity to head the Brantywedge Primary School, I transformed it into a #1 primary school, introducing initiatives like the interactive whiteboard. I mean, students would have been able to connect to students in the U.S. That has never happened. And when I looked at some of the initiatives that I introduced, they were the very first in the region as well. We had an active gym for our students. I mean, I had a multi-purpose, state-of-the-art computer lab. The first primary school to have security cameras in all of the classrooms and around the school. And this worked tremendously well in terms of managing behaviors in the school. So I think I bring quite a lot so that I would be able to take the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party to that level of rebranding that it will be successful at the next polls in forming the government. And of course, it's not going to be just Jeffrey Handy, but I've always been a team player. So all of my other colleagues, Dr. Drew, Convis Maynard, Kenny Douglas, Leon Natter, whoever, we are going to work as a team to ensure that citizens get to benefit the way they ought to be benefiting.
Okay, nice. Desi?
Okay, so I have a question. I was actually trying to read it. Good afternoon, Dr. Hanley.
How are you doing, Desi? How are you doing?
I'm fine, thanks. It sounds so good to hear you. Excited to hear me.
And you know, I am always excited when I am speaking to my youth and persons who I would have had the opportunity of influencing in some way or the other. You know, Jihan is one of my, I don't want to go there. And you, by extension, I am so proud of both of you, and I want to wish all of you the very best in anything that you put your hand to. It will turn into gold. Something similar to what Mr. Handy is capable of doing. It's not that I'm boasting, but you know that I'm somebody who makes things happen, and I'm going to make it happen for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. Go ahead with your question.
I definitely spoke to that before. I have a question here, and I'm being asked to ask you if you will accept the current prime ministership into the Labour Party. If you would accept the current prime minister into the Labour Party if you were to be successful.
That's the question. If I would accept the current prime minister into the Labour Party?
If you were to be successful. If you were to be successful.
Successful as the leader of the
Labour Party.
St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party?
Mm-hmm.
That decision would not be a one-man decision.
Mm-hmm.
And we are a party of inclusion. So I believe that there will be dialogue as we have those things. But for me to say, I will accept him, I can't say that. and I don't think it is proper either. But I know that we will do our best to ensure that we win the next general election. We're not discriminating either, but it would never be a one-man decision. It will have to be a collective as we move forward in terms of what is best for the party at the time. And who tell you that the current Prime Minister is interested in wanting to be part of the St. Labour Party?
I mean, that is me by extension. Whoever the individual is, I will not call their name on radio. I suspect that they may prefer to remain anonymous. But I...
That's okay. No, that's okay. That's okay.
Yes.
That's okay, but we got to, you know, politics is dynamic.
It is.
So you don't know, and it's best sometimes not to say.
That's true. That's true.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for that. I actually could appreciate that answer.
No problem at all.
What I wanted to ask you about before I ask you, I have two questions. One is on, you spoke about innovation, and of course you've done work in innovation and education. What other areas in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party as an institution where you can apply some sort of innovation to see progress in the party? And then the other question would be directed to women. And what about women? How are you going to address the issue of the gender parity between in the party as it currently stands? I think you only have one female candidate, and we're not talking about
not a candidate.
Well, candidate, but
Senator Doyle.
Well, yeah, you have a senator, right? And then you also have Masha Henderson. Is she officially announced?
Deputy leader.
No, she's not. She's not announced as a candidate.
Is it? Okay.
Nominee for the deputies
right.
position.
So you have persons coming into the party at the highest positions of power, and not very many of them are women. What is your take on that? So innovation in the Labour Party as an institution, how are you going to address other areas besides education and the issue of women and the gender parity?
Yeah, within the party as well, of course, as I mentioned in my preamble, is that there must be a business approach to how we manage in the party. And this business approach is not only for the national executive, but having an opportunity to get persons in the constituencies or even constituency branches to launch out into businesses as well. This is all part of the innovation. And of course, outside of that, in terms of embracing the technology, because that is the way we ought to be going in this time, ensuring that we create a digital community. I was impressed at the St. Teresa's, the Immaculate Conception graduation on Thursday when the keynote speaker was speaking about the robotic program that was introduced at the CFBC and how it made, the talk of the region. These are things that we have to be doing going forward, not only at the CFBC level, but I believe at a much younger level as well, in terms of even in our high schools and our primary schools. It was just in the youth, the 25 most remarkable teens, based on persons who received the awards, 3 of them got for entrepreneurship, which was really applaudable. So I used the opportunity to engage the Honorable Minister of Education in seeking the assistance in when we are doing the review of our curriculum to ensure that entrepreneurship is taught at the primary school level. So all of these things, all of these initiatives would be part of the brand for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and the country going forward. When you look at healthcare, I mean, we don't need to say much because it is the obvious, but it is clear that there are things that we can do immediately to address some of the shortcomings that the health sector, is experiencing right now. And I can share one with you because I shared it with some delegates that I spoke to in a constituency. A simple fix like employing 2 of our certified chefs or chefs who would have left CFBC who have been out of a job now for 2 years. Some are still seeking. We could have employed them at the Joseph and Fans General Hospital to work alongside those persons in the kitchen and just change the menu in the hospital. The very change of the menu and the plating of it will make the patients them automatically start to feel better. So there are some simple things that we could be doing. I had the opportunity of purchasing some medication for a 94-year-old the other day, and I was shocked when I went to the counter, and the young lady told me $199, but I asked her, is that for me? But I was the only one at the counter. Only to find out that the one medication was 100 and something, and the other one was $88. Now, I know we have been talking about the National Health Scheme for almost 10 years, the unity government, 2 terms, but they started talking about it to lead them into the 2015 election. Nothing has been done yet, but I think instantly, something like just using a cap figure, we can start off with persons at age 75 and above, that they don't need to be paying for any medication and, medicine at that age, because we have the statistics. We must know how many of our elderly, the age when they're going to reach. So these are some of the things we have to be doing, and I believe I'll be able to help in this area because I am also a very strategic person. Now, to address the question about women, I am one who welcome women. Jihan can attest to that because I have been a pusher for that over the years in youth development. Matter of fact, I'm always surrounded by a team of women. And, they are good resources. So I think this is something that the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party will continue to do and improve upon, because we have always supported women, but of course there's always the argument that there is not enough. But you find sometimes women sometimes they don't make themselves available, especially in the political arena, because of the negatives that are sometimes thrown at them. But I am happy that there is a shift in that direction now, because you're seeing more and more women getting involved. And I welcome them and will continue to welcome them and continue to use them, because women is a driving force in anything, in ensuring that success is always a priority for them. So we will always have women around the table, at least from where I speak, and I speak on behalf of my other colleagues as well, because our philosophies are almost the same, or, of similar nature. And of course, we will be pushing or continuing to push women, because there are a lot of women who have been the first of a lot in St. Kitts, and we will continue to ensure that that happens. And I invite others to come on board and be bold and make it known. The other thing to deal with that too is that sometimes is the same women who try to keep down women also. It's not the man all the time try to keep down women. So that is something we'll have to be working on as well. But I am one who supports utilizing women and exposing them to the highest level. And I don't even need to call names, but when I look at persons, from the St. Kitts National Youth Parliamentary Association, the Jihans, the Azilla, the Miss Kelly, you go on and on. Even Joel, who left Youth Parliament, she is now in the National Parliament. That in itself is woman power. You had persons like Marcella Leiber, Justin Henry Martin, Dame Mitchum, Constance Mitchum. They would have made their contribution, and I'm quite certain that they have always been encouraging other women to get involved, but there are some who might shy away, but I commend all those bold ones who are stepping forward, and we will welcome others. And certainly as the leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, I will be welcoming more women to the table.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Hanley. We'll give you 30 seconds to make your pitch to the delegates tomorrow. If there's anything you want to say to them as we close this segment.
Thank you very much, Jihan. I take this opportunity to thank all of my delegates from constituency number 1, East Bastia, for their full endorsement. I had a full endorsement from my branch when we discussed the matter about me getting or trying to get the nomination. It was 100% support across the board. So I want to commend them. And that in itself is satisfaction for me, knowing that I am entering this race with an entire branch full endorsement. And of course, to the delegates who are going to come to the conference tomorrow, I solicit your vote. You have seen me around. You have known me in the Labour Party for almost 35 years working. I was born in the belly of Labour, and I ask you to give me that opportunity at this time, this historic time, to lead the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, putting us in a better position to win the next general election whenever that is called. Thank you very much, and I continue to wish both of you all the very best.
All right,
Gian,
thank you.
I'm so proud of you with your book.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
God bless.
and we wish
You're
you the
most
best
welcome.
tomorrow. Thanks for calling.
Thank you very much. Thank
All
you
right.
very much. God bless.
All right. So we have 3 more minutes before the third nominee calls. So I think it's good to take a break, take a little short commercial break. But that was good. The traditional Jeffrey that we've all come to know. So we'll take a short break and we'll be back with our third nominee for the leadership of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. We'll be right back.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
Gift for Dad's birthday? Click. Ooh, Janice's retirement party? Click. Outfit for my girl's wedding? Click.
With TDC Airbox, you click, we ship. Register for your free U.S. mailbox today and shop all your favorite stores online. Enjoy the convenience, free consolidation up to 10 pounds, competitive rates, free package tracking account with live notifications, free delivery, and of course, excellent customer service. Visit our website at tdcairbox.com and register today. For more information, visit our offices at the C.A. Paul Industrial Site in St. Kitts and Penny's Industrial Site in Nevis. Follow us on social media at TDC Airbox. TDC Airbox. You click, we ship. Terms and conditions apply.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
People make the world go round.
Okay. Good afternoon, and we're back. And if you're just joining in, you're listening to Inside the News here on WINNMedia SKN in partnership with the Alarm Clock. I am your host, Gian Williams, and I'm here with Miss Desi Brown as well, co-hosting, and today we're talking about the heated, exciting this thing. So this is such political. If you're into politics, this is definitely your time. All right. So we were joined earlier by Dr. Terence Drew, and then we just heard from Dr. Jeffrey Hanley, and then we're rounding out the pack. Okay, we're rounding out the pack with Conris Maynard. He will be joining us. So we're just standing by for the signal. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi,
Conris
good.
here.
Oh, great. So we're happy to have you, Mr. Maynard. You have to be all official, but it's.
I'm on here already?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Yes.
A pleasant good afternoon to everyone and to the listening public.
Great. So how are you feeling about, the election tomorrow? Tomorrow is the big day. How are you feeling now?
Yes, tomorrow is in fact a big day, not just for me, but for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party and the delegates, supporters, and comrades. It is the first time we are going to be electing a new leader for some time. And so I am feeling great. I mean, we've done the work. We've reached out, we've canvassed, we've spoken to the delegates, and now it's going to be up to the delegates to make a choice. But based on my interactions with the delegates, I feel pretty good about tomorrow.
Okay, great. No, we have been asking the nominees the same question because we really want to compare answers.
Okay.
In terms of your ability to attract undecided voters and even persons who are not currently supporters of the Labour Party, what do you think are your strengths in garnering that type of support as if you are elected party leader?
Right. So thanks for that question. I take you back to even before politics. I've always been someone who has been about trying to bring people together, trying to build bridges instead of fences. And that was expressed in a number of ways, whether through my community activity, through sports, through community involvement, through church involvement, through school activities, right up to university, but also through the art form of calypso. And I had made a decision from a very young age that I wanted to be a source of inspiration and togetherness. And so if you look at my catalog of music, which really chronicles the ideas that I have in life or my ideals, they have always been about how we can bring our people together. And I found that, especially using that art form, and even throughout my political career, there has always been a willingness of either side to engage with me and for me to engage with them. When you look at songs like One Song that speak about acknowledging the different colors and different people that we have, everyone having a specific role to play. In a song, it's identified through parts such as soprano, alto, bass, and so on. In life, it could be politics, it could be social background, it could be economic background. The point is, whether you are a sanitation worker, or whether you are a lawyer, or whether you are an author, you have a role to play. And now that I say author, let me pause and give commendation to you, Jihan, as an author, bringing out your book chronicling your own experiences in life. I want to thank you for that bravery and courage of doing so. And I'm pretty sure, as I've seen, it's a tremendous inspiration to many in your particular position.
Thank you.
It gives a sense of comfort to know that others have gone through that and are willing to share their experiences. So I just wanted to put that in, and congratulations on that huge step of publishing a book.
Thanks.
But I was saying that we all have our different roles to play in our society, and my aim has always been, how do we bring ourselves together to get a singular goal? Not just one song, whether it was Unstoppable Force, talking about us working together, and a song which you played a role in, actually, Jihan. I don't know if you remember, some years ago.
Yes, I was a judge.
Sorry?
I was the judge. If you
Yes,
take
you
the
were
oath.
the judge.
Yes.
Right, you were having me take the oath. And in that song, I speak about there should be no party divide. You know, that we all have our different philosophies, we all have our different ways, but we must come together, take a note to move St. Kitts and Nevis together as one. So my life story has been about bringing people together. And I will continue that tradition as leader and as a politician, that we always have to include everybody's views such that we can make an informed decision on how we move forward. So, the best way I can say how I will do it is that just look at my life thus far has always been about inclusion.
Now, how have you been responding to persons who have been noting your age as, a reason perhaps why they should look at another candidate? How have you been responding to any criticism about your age?
What are they saying? I'm too old?
To you're the youngest. You're the youngest among the.
Oh, I was wondering.
No.
Well, first of all, in our politics, actually, it's not really young. Yes, I am the youngest, but I think Dr. Douglas became leader when he was 36. Robert Bradshaw became leader younger than that, actually. I don't remember if it's 32 or 29 or somewhere around there. And I don't necessarily want to quote the Bible and says that a child shall lead them. But I don't think that the age for anyone is a factor. I've actually not heard that. This is the first time I'm hearing that the age is a consideration.
I was listening to a conversation just as I was somewhere getting something to eat, and that was the hot topic, and there was this comment that you should wait until some time. But I was just wondering if that's something that you've heard in terms of a criticism.
Honestly, I haven't heard that among the delegates. That's not a question that they have asked. In fact, if you look at it, you have to look at the experience. Although I'm the youngest, I am the most experienced in Parliament of those that are going forward. And also, I've been in the political arena now for 8 years. But added to that, I've been involved in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party for almost my entire life. And so the breadth of experience is not shown just by the age that I am, but how many years I've served in this particular field and around this particular business. So I think the requisite experience is there. Not just in politics, not just in Parliament and so on, but the experience of being successful in my professional and business life, being able to understand how structures and operations work to manage large institutions and large groups of persons and so on. Those experiences are there. And so I don't think anyone should have to worry about the age. I think Dr. Douglas became Prime Minister too at 42. So it is not uncommon for my age group, but I think what's more important is to look at what I bring to the table in terms of the experience and the capabilities.
All right. So then give us a view or some insight into what the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party would look like. What's your vision for the party if you are elected tomorrow?
Right. So the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, of course, is a near 90-year organization, and we have kept growing with the needs of the people and sticking true to our mantra of for the good that we can do. And ever so often, you're going to have a new injection of vision. It happened 32 years ago when there was a change from Limo to Dr. Denzel Douglas, and there was a figure that was brought in, and the party became very vibrant and very strong. These days now, I think it's time for the party to be modernized to a point where we become technologically savvy to be able to operate as a modern party for modern day politics. So it's not going to be the same way of communicating. When 32 years ago, we didn't have social media, we didn't have Facebook and so on, etc. And so a lot of persons get their news different places. And so we are now going to have to ensure that all of our messages reach across the platforms that people are using. Another important thing that will happen under a Congressman leadership is to get a home or a headquarters for the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. When I became a candidate for constituency number 3, we did not have a home in constituency number 3. And I thought that it was a critical thing to establish a home such that the comrades can have somewhere that they can go to do any number of things, whether it's politicking or community activities. And so I invested and ensured that we were able to get what I call a pinnacle constituency office. That is, I think, a good example for the rest of the country or the rest of the party. And so it is my intent to replicate that across all of the constituencies, such that they have a home that they can do their work in. Some constituencies always have to find some place to have large meetings and so on. But in number 3, we've been blessed to have this structure done even before I became a parliamentarian. So the fact that I was able to do that then should indicate that I'm serious when I say that I'm going to replicate that for each of the constituencies, and also at the national level, such that we could have a home that, again, is not just about our political activities, which is important, but also engagement of the masses in any number of community activities. So that is something that is going to be very critical in terms of how the party is going to look. What's also important is to ensure that we have an open tent, that all are welcome to support and be a part of our movement and our vision. We have to do things together. As I said, we will have different roles to play. We will have different voices, but we must be able to hear the voices and make a determination after we've heard the voices of what is the best direction to go. So I want to, make an appeal to delegates to understand that we are going to say welcome to everyone. We are the most popular party. We have the most supporters in the country, even to this day, even at the last election. But we want to grow our support and grow our base. And one of the things that has been insightful is the reach out that I've had from persons who are not a part of our party, who said, Congress, I am really looking forward to you becoming the leader, because I know your heart, I know where you stand, I know what you have preached all your life, and I'm looking forward for that opportunity where I could, for instance, not necessarily support the party, but don't feel as though I'll be victimized, I'll be thrown out on corridors, or I'll be sent on long vacation because I have some association with the party that's not in power. I think people see that I will be that type of inclusive leader, and that is how the Labour Party will look under a leadership of Congressman, and that we will want to include from every sector of the party. And then, of course, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party has always been about transforming lives. We have done it our entire life, where we have brought our masses from abject poverty to owning nothing at all, not even land, not housing, to give people an avenue for their dreams to come through, to just simply own a piece of the rock, for instance. We have in the past revolutionized health, where we have health centers, I think, within 2 miles of every village. And we're going to revolutionize health again. We also want to revolutionize agriculture. It is time that we take food security seriously. We have moved away from the monocrop of sugar, but we have not utilized the land as best as we could in order to safeguard our own future, but also to use it as an option for wealth creation for our people. We are going to pay attention as well to sports. That is going to be very critical. I see how many other countries are using sports to advance themselves, to promote themselves globally, but also to promote their athletes and their young people as another avenue of wealth creation. Another important thing that the Labour Party will focus on under my leadership will be that of entertainment, the arts, and culture. Needless to say, I've had some experience in that field, and there is so much that we can accomplish that way. I mean, when you look at the export of culture from a place like Jamaica, not because we're small, we can do it, but we need to ensure that there's an infrastructure that allows our talents to be exported, and that people can think that there's a way to earn from that. I mean, you had Arrow from a small country like Montserrat. His song, Hot, 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 is one of the most played songs around the world today, especially in cruise tourism and so on, etc. But Montserrat at that time had a very good recording studio, for instance, that allowed these artists to be able to come out of Montserrat. And so we need now to invest in the entertainment industry, not just talk about it, not just have it on our card, but actually empower our artists, and especially after what we've seen with COVID and how it has impacted our artists. If they were already established, they would still be making money even if they were not performing. So that is going to be something that's very critical. Also, education, of course. The St. Kitts Labour Party is responsible for where we are in terms of our education system. Everyone in St. Kitts has an opportunity to get educated. That is not necessarily the same thing, even the same across our entire region. But there has come the time now where we need to step up on that. We now not just need to be teaching the traditional form of academic, but now we have to ensure we identify the skill sets of our children and channel them in those directions. Because once you identify, for instance, someone is good with their hands, whether it's carpentry, whether it is a trade, we must make sure that there is a educational line that promotes that type of development. Also, if they, for instance, when it comes to education, they may be more technically and logically minded to be able to be pushed towards app development. Everything now is about app development. There's also going to be the need, because of the fact that we are doing so much computer technology. One of the critical and emerging fields that is going to be very important that we must prepare our children for is security in systems, because that is where the new warfare is going to be. It's going to be about how foreign persons or persons with bad intention invade the information that we are collecting. So we must have a generation who understands how to protect our information if we are going to then become an e-economy or an e-country.
Okay.
So we have to position our children to utilize and to be at the forefront of the global pace when it comes to education. And there are a number of other things, but I figure you may have some other questions as well.
Yes. Yes. There's actually one more question before we give you an opportunity to make your final appeal to the delegates. because we're also cognizant of the time for the end of the show as well. But there was a question posed from one of the listeners who asked the same question of Dr. Hanley in relation to your position if, I guess we have to say if the Honorable Timothy Harris decided that he wanted to come back to Labour, the Labour Party, but the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, under a Conwys Maynard leadership, would he be welcomed?
Right. So anyone is welcome to support the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, and we welcome whether it is Timothy Harris or anyone to support the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. But Timothy Harris, for instance, has crossed the line when it comes to the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party in terms of its leadership. So I don't anticipate that that attempt will be made, but that is not something I think that can be tolerated. That today, for convenience, you can say one thing, and then the next day you say another thing. It has caused too many people too much anguish, too much despair, and I'm not about the politics of convenience. So anyone is welcome to support the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, but as it pertains to leadership and forming coalitions of convenience with Timothy Harris, count me out.
Count you out. Okay.
Good afternoon. I know I've been very quiet. It's Desi.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Just listening to what you have to say. I have a question.
Go ahead.
All right. So we've been asking, like Jan said, similar questions. And my question to you is related to your vision on the inclusion of women at the higher realms of the party. To be able to be matriculate into positions of leadership, or to sit
Yes.
at we currently have a senator, and where we have one person who would have been a candidate in the last election, in
Right.
the former minister, Marcella Liebert,
Yes.
who is a female. What is your vision to address the issue of gender parity? We've been having these conversations for weeks. It's getting hotter and hotter as we look at the issue of inclusion and inclusion of ideas and people, and moving forward with trying to get men and women at the table.
Right. So the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party has always been at the forefront of including women and including them at the table. Of course, as you know, you mentioned Marcella Liebert, who was not only a minister, not only a deputy leader, she was also Speaker of the House. We also had other members who were appointed to our parliament who were women. And our process is open for anyone to step forward. There are no hindrances or structural hindrances for women to step forward. What I think we need to do more of is to make the environment more conducive, such that women feel that they can step forward. I've heard a lot of women talk about how vitriolic it can get, how the tenor of the politics is pushing them away from stepping up. And so one of the things I want to address as leader is how we can change the tone of our politics from this aggressive nature of just tearing down each other, compared to having substantive discussions about how to move the country forward. I think once we move the tone and we shift the tone of the discussion, then more women will feel a lot more comfortable becoming engaged. But we've always welcomed that. In fact, from my own branch, almost half of the persons we nominated to the executive are women. I think more than 2/3 of the national executives who has been nominated in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party are women. And so there is the avenue for women to serve, and we encourage women to be at the forefront. The St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party has been, its foundation is the support of the women folk. They have carried the party from its inception, and I know they will continue to carry it. And so we, I think, need to make the environment conducive for persons to feel like, if I get into this, it's going to be about the substantive things as opposed to the character assassinations and so on, etc., that many people seem to be running from. And it's unfortunate because I see a lot of talented women who they have a yearning to serve and to give back to their community. But they say, you know, I'm not getting into that. And sometimes, both men and women, sometimes all of those, that talent that exists, we don't get to utilize it because of that. And then sometimes you end up with persons who are not the right fits. I think this government is an example of some misfits and persons who just don't meet the bar. But we have to ensure that we create an environment that is welcoming to women so that they're at the table. But in the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, there's always an avenue and a pathway for women to be at the table, and we want that to be the case.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Conris. We'll give you just 30 seconds to make your appeal to the delegates.
Right. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It was indeed a pleasure. And to the delegates, I want to first thank those who have expressed support for my candidacy, in particular my constituency branch, constituency number 3, who fully supports this endeavor of us going for the leadership of our party. We have been faithful supporters of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, second only to constituency number 6. But I want to give the delegates the confidence to know that a leadership of Conris Maynard is going to be about hope. It's going to be about dispelling and getting rid of the despair and the oppression and the fear that exists in the country today. It's going to be how we're going to bring people together, how we're going to understand that there are going to be differences, but we're going to team together so we can sing one song, and be unstoppable together. The delegates must know that with my background, my experience, I think I am adequately prepared to lead at this time. And I want to ask them for their support because I am convinced that I can grow into a leader that you, the party, and the country would be proud of. Someone that you feel can represent you anywhere, on the street corners, in parliament, or in international political fora, wherever. I know that you will be proud of the service that I would give as your leader. And so tomorrow, Sunday, November 28th, I ask you to vote for Conris Maynard as the next incumbent party leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party. God's wishes to everyone. Thank you for having me, and God bless the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Conris. We appreciate it, and we certainly wish you the best tomorrow. And we will be joining the rest of the public waiting to hear the results with most excitement. So we wish you the best, and we trust that the results are results that you can live with.
Yes, absolutely. We will live with the results, and the party will be stronger than ever before after the process is finished tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Yes. All right. Take care.
Take care. All the best.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay, folks. So there you have it. We can't vote. we're not delegates. You know, but I am so appreciative of the fact that even though we can't vote, it has been insightful to see the candidates and to hear their positions. Pretty much a lot of the same in terms of their positions. So that tells me that it will come down to delivery and who can best deliver. And I don't know if persons perhaps may have their favorite. I know my favorite is the three of them together. I think that's my favorite. So because I just see different elements that I think would make an excellent team. So whatever happens tomorrow, whoever is the one who is going to be out front, I pray that they will have the full support of the other two.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we weren't able to because of our time lapse. Time has, definitely gone left us. But I don't know what to say. I'm actually impressed, I must say, with the thought processes. Some of them have similar ideas, but you can see that they're their own individuals in their own right.
That's what I'm saying. Together, though, I don't think, even though there is similar vision, the focus, and I mean, even though they've said a lot of the same thing, I pay attention to then what people say first, believing that that's perhaps the higher priority. So you know, when Jeffrey says education first and Drew is talking about health and like together, I'm saying this thing.
I think so.
It would be.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, collectively, there's a lot of work that can be done. A lot of transformation yet to take place.
And they all talk about inclusion, especially with young people, especially with women. So, sounds good.
It does.
Sounds good.
I'm now eagerly awaiting the results, and it's not even tomorrow yet.
Yeah, we're waiting on the WhatsApp. You know, the WhatsApp will come out tomorrow, forwarded many times. So, well, folks, that has been our show for today. It's been Inside the News with Alarm Clock, and we had discussions with the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party on their leadership elections tomorrow. So we had the explanations and we heard from all three of the leadership nominees. So it's going to be interesting, I think. But thank you for joining in. And I guess we'll have to say Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, because it is our last show for the year. So you'll see us on the next side in 2022 with more topics about politics and governance and getting people to understand how governance works, because it's all our business. So with that, it's been our pleasure. Have a fantastic Sunday afternoon and rest of the weekend, and see you next time. Bye.
Hello? Jean, you know every time I call you, it's always about something good. What's going on? Well, the TDC retail stores in St. Kitts and Nevis are at it again. Their new stocks have arrived. Really? Yes, new furniture, printers, toys, appliances, electronics, housewares, even decorations, and so much more. New is in. So, girl Betty, when we going? You know me, I don't miss a beat when it comes to TDC. I'm getting ready to go to TDC Automotive and the Home and Building Depot now. And next week, we're definitely going over to CDS Nevis to see what they have over there too. Betty, me I'm here. Betty, you gone?
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
People